Greetings, members one and all of the Salivation Nation. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Jonathan Swires from Monument Metals. Yes, indeed. Hello, Jonathan.
How's it going, everyone? Nice to meet everybody.
All right, very cool. So we thank him for joining us. This is the second interview of my precious metal dealer, calling all precious metal dealers. And Jonathan has been gracious to come aboard here, and so we're going to ask him a few questions. But before we do that, I want to send out the invitation again. If you are a precious metals dealer that sells gold and silver bullion, feel free to contact me at salivatemetal@gmail.com, and I'd be glad to have an interview with you. We can do it in this format, a live format where we interview you and take questions from me live and the audience live, or we can do a pre-recorded interview. So either or. So put that out there. Next little housekeeping item is kind of the ground rules. They're a little bit different than my normal live streams. We like to have fun here. We'll have fun here this evening too. But I just ask that you be respectful to my guest here as we do take questions. And basically any kind of trolling, I don't mind if people troll me. As you know, my general rule is you can troll me all you want to in my live streams, but let's kind of keep that limited here today as we focus on the interview and be respectful of each other inside of the chat. But as you ask a question to Jonathan here later in the program, I ask that you be respectful as you ask your questions. It's okay to ask challenging questions to Jonathan here, but just be respectful as you do so. And but anyways, with that being said, I'm going to go ask Jonathan here a series of questions about Monument Metals and about what they offer and their programs and their business. And then that'll be the first portion. And then the second portion, we're going to get questions from you. And so that's coming. So, and I'll tell you exactly, because there's a way I'm going to have you ask those questions. And before I tell you that way, it's going to be different than last week's. So it's going to be a different way to ask because people were asking questions too early. And so stay tuned. Just hold the phone on the questions. They'll be coming, but you have to stick around. There's another reason to stick around too. And there's going to be some promotion codes. Yes, indeed. Jonathan's got some promotional codes for us. And but you have to stick around to the end to find out what those are. And he is wearing pants. Yes, indeed. He is wearing pants. And he's a Redskins fan, too, it looks like. So that's Jonathan on the side chat here.
Careful with the Redskins. That's a sensitive topic.
All right. Okay. All right. So, Jonathan, welcome. And we'll begin by just telling us a little bit briefly about how and when Monument Metals got started.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's great to have everyone here. I sent a message on Reddit a little bit earlier to try and have people join us. So hopefully a bunch of people come in and feel free to and open to ask any kind of questions they might have. Monument Metals is my company, and it started about 4 years ago. However, we've only been online with the website for a little over a year and a half now. Started almost a year and a half. Started in June of last year is when we started online. But my experience in the business goes much longer than that. This is really the only career I've ever had. I've always worked in precious metals. When I was growing up, I really wasn't exposed to coins, numismatics, precious metals, something I didn't know. And I went to college and I got an economics degree. And as soon as I got out of college, that was right around when the economic downturn was happening. And I knew a good family friend that owned a coin and bullion business. And I thought to myself, well, it's kind of in the same vein. I'll start there and see how I feel. And after about a month working there, I was hooked. I wanted to stay in that business. I learned the business from the ground up. I'm telling you, I have done every possible thing that has ever existed in this business over the last, 10, 15 years that I've been doing this. I've done retail, I've done wholesale, I've done business over the phone, I've done online, I've done in person, I've done collections, done it all. And I really wanted I wanted to start mainly an online business, which became Monument Metals, because I really felt that the online experience hadn't been done right yet. Now, there are great online companies you can buy from. And it's wonderful to buy online. Look, it's 2018. Most people want to buy online. They want to search on their own, make a decision on their own. But I think it still matters who you're doing business with in 2018. It matters who you're talking to. It's not just robots on the other end of things, at least not yet. Uh,
Right.
there's people out there, and it's important to know who you're dealing with and get to know them if you get a chance. And even if people are just doing business with us online, I always encourage people to call us, talk to some of the people that work here, talk to me, talk to some of the other higher ups of the business. Get to know who you're dealing with, because precious metals is a very difficult business to understand, especially if you're new. There's a lot of nuance and there's a lot of misinformation out there. And I pride myself, and I think my company is great at informing the public, especially people that are new to the business. So does that really answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you. So it's that personal touch. It's that understanding and being very, very knowledgeable in the markets and about the metals from which people are buying. And it does make a difference. I think it's good to know that people can um, have that wealth of information when they do place an order or call to check up on an order, for sure. People think that you're me, apparently, or I'm you, and I can assure you that Jonathan is a much better looking than I am. So yeah, you're definitely very good. Look at that. All right, cool. All right. Well, that's great. That's awesome. So as far as some of the products you offer, as how do you go about selecting a product, or what, like if there's a new coin or something like that that's on the docket? You don't have to necessarily talk about all the stuff you do offer, but if there's, how do you go about making that selection if there's something that's new out there, or decide against it?
When you're picking out a new product, you obviously want something that people are going to want. There's a ton of silver and gold products out there that there's just no demand for at all. Now, me personally, I have a little bit of a higher bar, maybe than some others. So I'm looking at premium over spot. I'm thinking about, what do I think people are going to be able to sell this back to dealers later for? And a lot of people don't think about that when they're buying. So I'm looking for something attractive. I'm looking for something that's in demand. I'm looking for something that hopefully will hold its premium long term, so that when you go to sell, the dealer you sell it to isn't going to say 98% of spot and wash their hands. To me, I think it's the dealer's responsibilities. Even though people are going to buy what they want to buy, I think it's your responsibility to kind of sort of channel or filter people in a certain direction and sort of protect them, especially if they're newer people to the business. You don't want to be selling silver rounds that are just silver rounds at $5 an ounce over spot, and 2 years later they just lost 20% on their money. And that doesn't make me feel good. So I make it a point to not do those things.
Right. Cool. All right. Very good. Very good. Awesome. Nice. Well, cool. So as far as being in this industry, and you said you've done a whole lot of different things in this, you pretty much on all sides and all different angles. Being in Monument Metals now, what would you think is the one thing that you just dread doing? And accounting. There you go. Okay. Yeah.
Helping the accountant. It's
Right.
terrible.
Right. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, anyone that calls me while I'm involved with doing accounting and wants to talk about precious metals instead, you're going to get a great deal, because out of helping with accounting.
There you go. There you go. Cool. All right. Well, I'm going to ask you another question. I think will probably come up. So I'm going to go ahead and ask it now, because some of my viewers had asked this when I made the announcement video, and I've noticed this too. In my emails, when Penn Metals went out of business, I started getting emails from Jonathan Swires at Monument Metals. And so I think some people were wondering, I wondered, did they buy the business, or what was up with that? How did that happen?
Yeah. So we get this question all the time. Penn Metals as a business went out of business near the end of 2016. and they went out of business. And through wholesale channels, I knew the owners of Penn Metals, and they closed for health reasons. They couldn't keep going. And so they approached us and said, we have this list of clients, and they knew that I had wanted to start doing more online marketing. And so, long story short, I acquired their list. So we got the list from them, and we sent out an email. I think the first email we sent was sort of like an introduction. And we said, listen, we are Monument Metals. We're a completely separate and different company. We're not involved with Penn Metals whatsoever. If you're not comfortable with us having your email address, unsubscribe if you like. I think about 95% of people stayed on the list. And we always offered an intro so that people could get to know us. We had, spot offers that people could try. And, we did a little bit on social media as well to address that, because I knew it would be a hurdle, because anytime you hear of a business closing, there's a lot of fear that there's some sort of remnant from the old business that carried over to the new. But that's not the case. Penn Metals was in Dallas, I think. And, we're out here in Maryland. Monument Metals, right here in the DC area. There's no connection. And if you talk to any of your people in chat that have worked with us, all of our online reviews are real. We have a great online community that supports us, and things have gone really, really well. And, I think we're helping.
Great. Sounds good. Well, it's exciting, I mean, it's amazing because the choices out there. I don't think there's ever been a time where there's more choices, not only in the precious metals that we buy and the styles and the like, but also in some of the competition. Frankly, it's there's more companies nowadays, and I think that's kind of healthy for the business. But I imagine probably there's times where the margins are kind of razor thin for you. What's that?
Times,
yeah.
I mean, like always.
All the time, right? Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, but very cool. So, I guess probably, you personally, are you a collector? What is your interest with regards to this, or is there anything you particularly like? Are you a stacker, that type of deal?
I wouldn't call myself a stacker. I've seen too much.
Right.
It becomes, when you see it every day, it takes on a different meaning to me. And like I said earlier, I didn't grow up with it, so it's not something that was ingrained when I was a kid. But I am a big believer in precious metals as a hedge against your other more mainstream investments. So I'm the kind of guy that will put 10-15% of my overall in silver and gold. And unfortunately, I'm a little bit boring with my buying. I'm sticking to my gold and silver eagles, silver maples, those kind of things. I'll throw in something interesting here or there. I do like numismatics, some of the rare coins, certified coins. I've done a lot of business over the years on some of the larger collections in the U.S. At auction, a number of different places. So every now and then I'll find some rare pieces like that I'll like to hang on to.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to me, that makes you both a collector and a stacker,
I guess it does. I don't know. I don't know how to classify myself.
Yeah, no, I think that's wonderful. It's amazing. I always tell folks in the community that those that are hardcore stackers, that's all they do. They're just getting eagles or whatever. Sooner or later, the collector bug's going to bite them. And they're gonna, in one way or another, they're going to find something. You know what? I'm going to try to get something else.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's definitely some things that come around. One of the ones that I really liked this year, Perth Mint made an Australian dragon and tiger 1 ounce silver coin.
Yes,
that was really nice.
Yeah.
I really like those. Those are quality. We still have some, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Those were really cool. One of the more recent ones, Golden State Mint are making these Aztec rounds.
Yes, yeah.
Aztec silver rounds. Those are really, really nice. Now they're a little behind, as are most major mints right now. But they do a great job on those rounds. Golden State Mint makes really quality silver products.
Right.
That's something a little more recent that I've liked. And I've always liked I've always liked the $10 Indian. Love that design.
Oh, I do too. I love
That's
that.
a great one. And having that, the other Indian designs are different. In case some of the viewers don't know, the 2.5 and the 5 look different than the 10. I like the 10. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, the 5 and the 2.5 are what's known as sunken relief. People mistakenly call them induced, but it's pretty unique way that those were done. But I love the $10 Indian too. I only have one. I want to get another one.
Well,
Great.
yeah, I mean, those are great coins.
Right. Very cool. Nice. Awesome. Well, I tell you what, I don't know. I'm trying to think of another that we've actually talked about most of what I wanted to ask you about, but I'm trying to think if there's any one more thing I can well, oh yeah, I guess is there anything in the future that where do you see Monument Metals, 5, 10 years from now? Or do I mean,
Right.
is there anything that's on the pike, or I know you want to provide good quality customer service and products and stuff like that, but is there anything else that's going on there? Or?
Well, I mean, look, we're growing rapidly. When we started, it was pretty small. We're doing 4 times the amount of business we were doing this time last year.
Wow, that's amazing.
Tremendous amount of business.
Right.
It's far exceeded my expectations as to where we'd be now. And the thing about this business in 2018 is there's a lot of resources at a dealer like my disposal that didn't exist 10 years ago that would have made what we're doing a lot harder. So it's a lot easier for us to expand quickly the way that we have been. And it's really exciting. We're going to start introducing new products, silver rounds that are custom made through us. We're going to try and do a Monuments of DC silver round series.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah, that's in the works, but the problem is that a lot of these mints are really backed up right now because of all the demand. So I don't have a release date on that yet, but those are coming. But to be honest, my goal for Monument Metals is to take care of the community. Like I said, I've been doing this a long time. I learned a lot of what to do, but I also learned a whole lot of what not to do.
Right.
And in making this business, my goal is to avoid the what not to do and to educate people, give people a fair chance to spend their money, pay as low a premium as they can, get a fair price, and deal with honest and forthright and transparent people that you can trust. And if you can do that in this business, you're going to have a business for a long time.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm glad you said the word community because, I think it's more than just a customer. And I think we're all of us considering that and that's one reason why I asked if you accumulated precious metals yourself. And though you are kind of, enveloped in these metals all day, every day, you are holding some aside and you appreciate them. But it really is a community, and I think that the community includes dealers because we all work together. We're all making this. It's the same goal. Where it's about protecting ourselves, preserving our wealth, and collecting too.
Yeah, I mean, we're all in this together. I mean, this business doesn't exist unless you guys buy from us.
Right. Yeah.
Of course. I mean, absolutely, absolutely it is. And I would say it's more important than ever, to be honest with you. There's a lot of fraud out there. There's a lot of fakes out there. You got to know who you're dealing with. It's really important in today's bullion world.
That's right. Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. Especially here with even some larger companies like Republic Metals Corporation. Did you hear about that?
Oh yeah. Of course. Yeah. I mean, what the Republic Metals going out of business. They make good products and they were inexpensive, but they were so inexpensive that they didn't make any money. I mean, some of these. One thing that I've been telling some of the newer clients that have been buying, someone will say, well, silver round premiums went up 10 cents. Premium is way too high. I'm like, listen, you haven't seen premiums high. Like, you gotta be ready to deal with the different phases in the market. So a lot of people, and you mentioned you started in 2013 with the videos. I mean, a lot of people, all they've seen is a market that's been sliding down and down and down for years.
Right.
And, this sort of snapshot that we're in the market right now won't necessarily always be the case when you're talking about premiums and things like that with these companies. So it doesn't surprise me that Republic wasn't able to maintain at those prices.
Right. And I was wondering if there's anything new on that. And that, I mean,
I haven't heard anything new. I have noticed that that JM started blowing out all the Republic stuff, so they don't have to have any of it anymore.
Right. Right. Yeah. I don't think any of it's going to be worth anything. Some people were asking me if it's going to be worth anything afterwards. Like, nah, just like when the Ohio Precious Metals.
They're good products. I mean, we've sold Republic stuff, but
sure, yeah.
I don't know if it has that kind of cachet.
Right.
Like, some of the older, more interesting silver rounds do. I'm not sure. Not sure if it has that, but they were a good company.
Right. Right. Very good. Okay. Well, I think we'll transition now, and everybody's been has been pretty patient so far, which is great. I think now I'm onto something about how I'm going to use different codes for questions. So the new way to ask questions now, folks. This is your time now to ask Jonathan what you want, and in order to do so, type in 3% before your question so that we can see it and we know which one to ask. And when we ask these questions, depending on how many there are, Jonathan will answer them. And if we get a whole lot, and maybe Jonathan, just for your edification, for the flow of things, depending on how many we get, maybe keep it kind of short answers if you can, so we can get our already starting to come through. So let's start. Silver Wolverine says, do you prefer silver or gold? And does the silver to gold ratio matter to you?
Well, great question. To me, I like silver better than gold at these prices. I think both are important. The silver to gold ratio does matter. It's been proven to matter over time. I think it's close to 85 to 1.
Yeah.
Right now, I think it's like 84 point something. It definitely matters when you see that ratio out there. To me, especially if you're on the younger side, silver is definitely a more volatile price metal than gold is. So, for instance, if gold is down 0.5% in a day, silver might be down 1% in a day. So it's a little more volatile, but that can help you on the upside too. So if you're looking to be a little more profit motivated in your precious metals, I think silver is a great buy, in my opinion.
Right.
Gold is your natural hedge. It's your long term. I hope I never touch this. I'll see this gold when I retire kind of asset. It's the kind of thing you buy, you put it away. It's really your rock. So if my parents were buying precious metals, I'd tell them to buy more gold than silver.
Right.
There's no reason to take on additional risk at this point. Being a little more solid in what you're doing. But the thing is, it's different for everybody. It depends what your goals are. And whenever clients call, I instruct our staff, and I always ask people, what are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish by buying? And people will usually tell you, and then you can kind of go from there, and it makes sense.
Cool. Great. Thank you. All right. 143 Druid, as dealers are beginning to apply taxes to bullion purchases, has Monument Metals begun to tax for states or have taxation deadline to meet? There's an echo. Do you hear that?
I don't. Sorry.
Okay. Maybe it's on mine.
Sales tax, because of the Wayfair ruling from the Supreme Court earlier this year.
Yep.
Sales tax is coming to precious metals. I know that APMEX and JM are doing it. Maybe some others are. We're in the process of getting ours ready as well. It's coming. You can't avoid it because it's the law now. So I think this is going to be interesting for the business. I think a couple of things. I think one, I think states where people have partial exemptions, like for instance in Maryland, where we are, you pay sales tax if your order is under $1,000. If it's over $1,000, you don't pay any sales tax. So I think maybe stackers that are used to buying in smaller amounts might save up and buy less frequently, but buy over those amounts if they live in a state like that. Another thing I think people will start doing is, this rule is all based on what state you're living in or what state you're delivering it to, excuse me. And there are a lot of states that have exemptions still. Texas, you don't pay any sales tax. Florida is exempt from that rule right now. So, if you live in a state that does have the tax and you can deliver it in Texas or, wherever, and then eventually have it shipped to you, you didn't pay any sales tax. So I think storage programs will start becoming bigger, where you can ship it to a place that doesn't pay any sales tax. Things like that. So I think there are answers for the marketplace, but unfortunately, until the sales tax issue is dealt with on a larger scale, I think it's going to be around for a while. There is an industry council that we're a member of, and pretty much any bullion dealer worth their salt is a member of. It's called ICTA, ICTA, and they are, they do a lot of things, but part of what they do is they lobby to these state governments to exempt precious metals from sales tax, and they've done that in a ton of states. But the problem is that they haven't done it in all the states. And then this ruling came in, and now it's a much bigger issue, much more at the forefront. So it's going to be interesting to watch. But any dealer in 2019 that isn't charging sales tax, it's going to be a tough time for them.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. I think we're seeing that happen more. Profit Metal is doing the same thing. Silverback Stacker's got a couple questions. Where's my order? How much do you weigh? When will Justice Ginsburg retire? Is Kim Jong-un really an Asian Elton John?
Oh, wow. That was, I don't know that I got all of those. You want to read that back to me?
I was just teasing. That was just
okay. I'll answer whatever I can, man.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Let's see here. Let me get down here to the next one. Joel Worries asks, what is your least favorite government mint to deal with?
Can I say that? I will say, and this isn't just me, but this is just sort of the rep out there.
Right.
The least flexible government mint is definitely the U.S. Mint.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's true.
I mean, they're number one.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It's kind of like, here's what we sell, take it.
Take it. That's right. And basically, they don't care whether you're a dealer or not. You gotta buy it. You gotta buy it.
I mean, the U.S. Mint, makes fantastic products. All of their products are basically number one in the marketplace, and that helps us as dealers. It helps the community. I can't say too much bad about them, but I do know that they're not super flexible on things.
Right. Right. Pumpkin Face, is Monument Metals going to have any Black Friday sales?
Oh, I'm sure we'll come up with something.
Yeah.
I don't even know what we're doing tomorrow. So, we'll figure it out.
But we do know what's going to be happening at the end of this a webcast.
But that's today. So we're good with that. But,
that's today. So stay tuned to the end because there'll be some promotional codes I think you guys will really like. Carl Sittler says, when will silver shoot the moon?
Oh, I wish I knew the answer to that question. I think it'll be a while. I mean, you've got the Fed with a pretty solid schedule of interest rate hikes coming. It seems like every hit the stock market takes, it comes right back. Like, what was it, a week or two ago that we dipped under 25,000, had a few really bad days in a row. What is it, 25 and a half again, all the way back. Metals took a big hit again today. Something's got to happen one way or the other. I think we're headed lower before we're headed higher personally.
Right.
But the thing is how much lower? I mean, if you look at where metals are now, do you think there's a lot more upside or downside from here? I would argue there's a lot more upside from here. So
I think so too. So
I mean, I'm not, I'm in the business, so it's a little different for me, but I'm not as tied up on, the silver moving 10 cents one way or another. That doesn't bother me, in terms of where we were based on a couple of years ago. To me, I think it's a pretty good area to buy.
Very good. I agree. One CJS for you, ask questions about what your company, what's different about your company compared to other dealers. We talked about that at the beginning. So rewind.
I'd like to add to that if I can.
Okay, great. Go for it. Yeah.
So Monument Metals, let's be honest, there's a lot of things you can buy from dealers that are the same. If you go buy Gold Eagles, you can go buy that from 100 different places. Now, obviously, price is a big thing. Our prices, I think, are very attractive on essentially everything we sell. We try and position ourselves lower than the big boys, if you will.
Right.
That's one, of course. Two, we try and have a great selection. Now, we don't have literally every coin that's ever been minted. But most of the popular products that most people buy, we try and stock those at all times. To me, the most important thing about our company and the thing that sets us apart is having industry experts available to anyone that calls. So when I was building this business, like I said, I've seen what to do and what not to do in this business. And one of the things you need to do in this business is establish a relationship with your clients. I know that every company in the world says that we're starting a relationship, not just a single transaction. I know everybody says that, but if you actually live it, it helps your business and it helps your relationship with your clients. That's something that I've been doing at any position that I've been in this business for a long time. So when I was building this business, I built it in a way so that myself and some of the other higher ups at Monument Metals every single day take time to be on the phone, be on chat, be able to be free and talking to people in the actual community. All due respect to anyone else that comes on this show, all of the dealers. I mean, you're not going to be able to talk to those people if you call. It's not going to happen.
Right.
So if you want to call and say, hey, John, what's your feeling on this? I'll probably be available, or I'll make myself available. And I think that's really important in today's day and age, talking to a decision maker, somebody that is knowledgeable in the field, that can do more than just quote your price. I think it's really important, especially in 2018, where everything feels less and less personal. It still matters who you're doing business with. And that served us really well moving forward. And thus far, and we've seen it in our growth, and it's something that I'm passionate about.
Right. Great. Thank you. Very good. All right. Chiefly Chieftain says, do you offer military discount?
So technically, we don't have a military discount. However, email me or chat. If there's something we can do for you, we will. As I mentioned, our prices are usually lower than the other companies that offer those military discounts. So there's not a whole lot of room on everything. But if there's something that we can do for you, we appreciate your service. Just message us and we'll see what we can do for you.
Very good. Thanks. So Woody Woot Man says, what piece of advice would you give to a new stacker or collector? We kind of touched on that earlier, sort of about just asking what their goals are.
Yeah. I mean, when you're first starting out, buy as much as you can, as close to spot as you can. That's pretty simple advice.
Right.
I think that's pretty fair. I would stay away from numismatics as a first time buyer.
Right.
I think you can do a lot wrong there if you don't do it the right way. And I would try and get more information from people that are knowledgeable. Go on forums, look at what people have to say. Watch your channel. You have great videos that tell people all about the business. And don't be afraid to ask questions. There are no dumb questions in this business. There is so much stuff that happens in the precious metals business that people have absolutely no idea about, that you would know about if you would just ask. To me, the value of coming on your show today is the Q&A that we're going to be doing. I want people to ask any question that they have about the business. I'm happy to answer as much as I possibly can. There's a lot people don't know, and that's really probably my favorite part of doing this.
Very cool. All right. Well, thank you for that. And Stacking Nerd says, as far as she knows, Monument was the first to offer a spot price deal. How did that come about? She has.
I don't know about that. Thank you for your question. I'm not sure we were the first ones to do spot deals, but I'll tell you this: it's a great way to prove who you are and what you're about. I mean, you make an order with our company. If you're ordering with credit card or PayPal, it's being shipped out the very next day or even same day if we have time. If you're ordering with e-check, it's going out after 5 business days, which is standard for e-check. And you're getting this stuff in the mail. You're seeing how we go about our business. You're figuring all of this out, and you're getting a comfort level. And if you called us, you're getting even more of a comfort level when you can do that. And it's a great way to start any relationship. And I can't tell you how many people have bought the rounds at spot and then done more business or made a call that maybe they weren't going to make before. So I think it's a wonderful intro. It's the best intro.
Yeah. Very cool. All right. We're going to try to, there's a lot of questions stacking up here. I'm trying to go in order here and trying to skip over ones that may have been asked before. So I'll kind of interject somewhat there. Funktat, I think he mentioned 2019 for the sales tax being implemented. Magic Geek says, do you think silver will hit 13 or lower? Real quick thoughts on that before we go to the next.
It's so hard to say. It's so hard to say what the market's going to do.
Yeah.
I think I answered it earlier. I feel like we're headed lower before we're headed higher.
Right.
That's kind of my feeling. I gave up trying to predict this market years ago. I've watched people try and predict this market for years, and everyone is wrong. Nobody knows.
Exactly. Black Friday or Cyber Monday deals? Kay Carlson wants.
Oh yeah, for sure. We'll come up with something that's really attractive for you guys. We did last year. We'll do it again this year. I mean, frankly, I don't want to toot my own horn here, but I feel like every Friday is like a Black Friday. We do email deals all the time. If you're not on the list, get on there. We did something today on some RCM mint products below mint cost.
Right.
I mean, we're all over that stuff. Good deals. We're all about it. So Black Friday, Cyber Monday, I'm sure we'll have something.
Right. Good. Feline fans, good question. Do you cherry pick your coins and submit for grading, and the rest is sell to customer?
I love this question. Thank you for asking this question. What was the name?
Feline fans.
Feline fans?
Yeah, feline fans. Yes.
Okay. Fantastic question. So modern grading. I could talk for an hour about modern grading. Modern grading is not for this company. We do not do that. The only modern graded stuff we sell are, silver, gold, eagle, stuff like that. Really common stuff like that. As far as modern grading for 70s, 69s, we don't do that whatsoever. That is not our market. I don't believe in that market. We'll let other companies deal with that. We will never in caps do that at our business.
Right. Okay, good. All right. John from Hedgehog, do you think the current ratio between gold and silver will go back to 15-1? I guess that goes back to the predicting thing.
I don't know. I really don't know. I think it'll tighten for sure. I don't think we're going to be at 80 or 85-1 for a long time. And we just need a little juice in this market. If silver jumped to $18 or $20, I mean, people would be selling everything that's not nailed down. People. It's funny, when the market goes down like it did today, you'll have a lot of people buy, but people, when it comes to money, aren't always rational actors.
Right.
So when emotion gets in there. So the emotion ends up being the thing that gets people off the sideline and in. And the emotion of the price is lower, I'm going to make a good deal, is not as strong as the emotion of the price is going up, I'm missing out, I better go.
Right. FOMO, fear of missing out. That's right.
Fear of missing out is huge in this business.
Yep.
And, I mean, for years.
I was a victim of it too, I tell you.
I mean, everybody does. I mean, it's just part of the human condition. Everybody does it. I do it with stocks. Everybody does it with everything when it comes to money and investing. But
right.
A strategy that I think a lot of people make good use of is dollar cost averaging.
Yep.
Which, if you're a stacker, basically you're like a de facto dollar cost averager.
That's right.
Buying a little here, a little there. Add to that stack as you can, and you get to the place where you want to be.
Yep, that's right. Mr. Vegeta asked that he spoke to you while on the phone, and if he calls correctly, you mentioned silver going below 16 won't be good for the metals market. Do you have strategies as a dealer to compensate for losses?
Oh yeah, I mean, okay. So I think I heard in your last webcast people talk about this, but I can elaborate.
Yeah.
So dealers like myself do what we hedge. And so the market moving one direction or another doesn't affect my business in a negative or positive way. The only way it affects it in a negative, positive way is if more people are doing business. It doesn't affect the value of our inventory in a negative or positive way when the market moves that way. And to be honest, that's the only way to operate in this business without risking everything.
Right.
So everything, I mean, where's my phone? Like the coolest thing, like I can go on my phone and hedge stuff right now if I had to. That's how easy it is in 2018.
Nice.
It's incredibly easy to do once you know what you're doing. And I do know that there are a lot of dealers out there that don't hedge, and that would drive me like I wouldn't be able to sleep. I don't know.
Right.
How anyone does.
I imagine, yeah.
But the
Donovan,
hedging process, in case anyone doesn't know, the way that it works is, if it involves futures contracts. So if I buy, or let's say that I sell 1,000 ounces of silver, right? So in my inventory, that's negative 1,000 ounces.
right.
I need to buy those ounces back on a futures contract so that my net position that was negative 1,000 and then plus 1,000, that comes out to zero. And the only money that is exchanged is the profit margin, really.
Okay.
So that's how that works. And it works the other way too. So if I buy something, if I buy 1,000 ounces of silver, then I sell 1,000 ounces here, and that evens out to zero. And that's, you can't, there's the way that the contracts work, you can't do it exact. You can't do it ounce for ounce. The smallest silver contract you can do is 1,000 ounces. The smallest gold contract you can do is 10 ounces. So it's not exact, but if you keep it right where it needs to be, and hopefully any dealer that is worth their salt has calculations always going on where they always know where their hedge position is. And so we stay right on top of that. Anyone that isn't hedging is just gambling.
Right. Very good. Okay. Donovan in New Mexico wants to know if you're going to carry rhodium products.
Ooh, man. I'll put it this way. I haven't had anyone call me and ask me for rhodium in like 5 years. So
Okay, yeah.
I'm going to say no.
Probably. Yeah. Milt Steel, do you accept crypto? Any thoughts on these?
Yeah, we're looking to add crypto. I know that a lot of people take it. Couple of things with crypto. One, it is easy to pay with it. Two, I don't think there's as much demand out there for paying with crypto as you might think. Almost nobody asks for it.
Right.
And then the third thing about crypto is there's definitely going to be an additional wave in the future of regulation.
Right, yeah.
And the way that plays out, nobody really knows. But if I know the government and how they like to defend the dollar, it's not going to be good for you or for us.
Right.
So, we'll have to see how that plays out. But yes, we are looking to add crypto.
Here's a good question from Silver Limey 79. What is the best-selling sized bar people are buying at the moment?
10 ounce silver bar.
Nice, cool. Eric,
real quick on that. Yeah. Silver bars and silver rounds are incredibly popular right now, and mints are just absolutely dying trying to keep up with demand.
Wow.
Who was it today? Sunshine is quoting February for new delivery of product.
Wow.
February, yeah. And who else was it? Silvertown. For us to get anything new from Silvertown is going to be end of November, early December.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, amazing.
Yeah.
Eric, our resident bouncer, asks, can or will you list eBay listings under the eBay Bucks eligible category? Yeah,
so I'm glad you asked that question, Eric. So eBay, I don't know how much everyone knows about eBay. It's way too long to go into. But bottom line is eBay is not an even playing field for dealers like us. There are definitely some favorites played. And so one dealer where they may be able to sell something and get eBay bucks for, that may make sense for them. Then for other dealers, that may not make sense for them. And unfortunately, we're in the group that doesn't make sense for us.
Right.
We do have an eBay presence. We are going to increase our eBay presence. But I think it's going to take quite an uphill battle to be one of the chosen ones.
Very good. Okay. And again, as a reminder, folks, if you want to ask a question, type 3%. In other words,
ask anything you've ever wanted to know about the business. Anything, small question, big question. If you've ever been on Reddit Silverbugs, we do a lot on there. I do AMA questions on there all the time. A lot of people have really great questions. We've done a lot with that. So please ask away. I've got nothing but time. I love doing it. This is the best part of my day, doing this stuff. So please.
Awesome. Redneck Stacker has a question. Do you guys have a free shipping to Canada offer over a certain amount? If not, can you?
I wish we could ship to Canada for free. Canada makes that really hard.
Yeah.
It's incredibly expensive to ship to Canada. The only way to ship in an inexpensive way to Canada is if you're buying something that is already in Canada that I can ship to you. So for instance, if you live in Vancouver and you want something pure, like pure gold bars or something like that, 1 ounce gold bars, and you want those shipped to you, we have warehouse locations and depository locations that belong to this company that we can just say, hey, Redneck Stacker wants 10 1 ounce gold bars shipped to Vancouver, ship it out from there. And usually we can get it at a reduced cost going that way. But anything crossing the border just becomes incredibly expensive. And the other thing is the insurance cost on our side goes up whenever you have that involved as well. So I wish we could do it for free. But I will say that we do bend over backwards to help people in Canada get what they need. It is going to cost you money to ship, but I will tell you that we don't charge a penny more than our cost to ship anything to Canada.
Cool. All right. Very good. Mac asked, where do you source metals and do you see a decline in supply? You sort of spoke a little bit to that.
I mean, the thing about decline in supply is all of it's always temporary. I mean, there's always more secondary market stuff will come out of the woodwork at times. So in terms of shortages, I wouldn't say shortages, but there will be delays, especially on newly minted products at times. We're starting to see it now. I think you'll probably continue to see it as silver stays this low. We're at 14, what is it, 14 and change, right? 14, 19, I think is where we ended up. But, if we stay down here and demand stays high, you're going to see a lot of the privately minted stuff remain hard to get. Also, even RCM is falling a little bit behind. There's a bit of a delay on RCM 10 ounce bars too.
Wow.
So whenever you see the market dip like this, grab it when you can. Don't do anything. Don't do anything you wouldn't normally do, but grab it if it's a good price.
Here's an accessory question from Magic Geek. Thoughts on the Sigma Metalytics precious metals verifier, and would you carry anything like that?
We do.
Okay.
We're not retailing them, but we use them all the time. They're fantastic.
Okay, right.
I suggest if you're going to spend over $600 on precious metals, which I would think that's probably everyone in this chat, but if you're going to spend over that amount of money, you should own one of these things, and you should get the one with the wand, the really thick wand you can put on top. If you get that one, that is the best way to guard against fakes. Now, I have seen that machine fooled before, but it's very rare.
Right.
That gets almost everything, especially if you have the wand, like I mentioned, costs about $600-700 somewhere in there. Even if you catch one fake, like if you bought 1 ounce gold coins and you catch one fake, it pays for itself.
Yep, that's right. Yep. Very good. All right. Funkdad Forstelli, where do you acquire your 90% coinage that you sell?
Anywhere and everywhere.
Anywhere and everywhere. Cool.
Anywhere and everywhere. We buy some from the public. We buy some from other dealers. It just kind of, I'll tell you, that stuff is always around somewhere.
Right.
I know this is not really the question, but I got to tell you a story about 90% junk silver.
Okay.
My very first job in the business was at a retail establishment in Maryland. And now the 90% silver market was a little different back then. So there was a ton of that stuff moving all the time. And we were at a point where we were buying around 80 to 100,000 face value a week. And we were in Maryland, and there is a big refinery in New Jersey called Haraeus. I'm sure you know the name Haraeus. And we would sell them the 90%, and we would drive up and take it in. And the interesting thing about it is, it's a big refiner, so it's not, just a bullion dealer. It's a refiner. So we would take in the bags, and what they would do, they wouldn't pour all the stuff in barrels and melt it down. They took them in the 1,000 face value bags. They would weigh each bag, make sure it weighed what it should, and then bag them back up and put 12 bags sealed into a large sort of almost oil drum, and then ship it off. And I'm telling you, somewhere in some warehouse, there is a ton, like an unbelievable amount of junk silver sitting at Harass, or maybe they sold it by now. But
Right.
that stuff is out there. It moves. Uh, it's not quite the same market it was. I do think a lot of that was melted when silver went to the 40s and 50s, or the
Yeah.
high 40s in 2011. But that market is always strong. If you think about it, buying fractional silver, there's no better way to buy fractional silver. If you
Right.
wanted to buy, what is that, half ounce silver or a quarter ounce or 10
Yeah.
silver, the premiums you're going to pay are just substantially higher.
Oh yeah.
Anything you're going to pay on 90% junk silver, even right now, even if junk silver was $2 an ounce higher than it is now, it's still a good deal compared to small silver. So I think that's a fantastic market. I also think it's something for new stackers to get into. That's one of my favorite products to
Yeah. Yeah.
introduce to.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a good way to get new stackers involved, and at a low premium over spot price. Cool, bro. You sort of mentioned this earlier about when do you start worldwide shipment? It's going to be kind of tough.
I mean, worldwide shipment, that's based on a couple things. It's based on demand, and it's based on what the cost will be.
Right.
We're not getting a whole lot of calls from Europe asking us what we can sell them. Uh,
Right.
we get a lot of Canada, we get a lot of the UK, we get a little bit of Australia, but to be honest, we don't get a ton outside of those lines.
Very good. All right. And as a reminder, folks, we've got 227 viewers now. So stay tuned, all of you guys, because there are going to be some special codes coming at the very end of this live stream, and you want to pay attention to. There is some good deals coming, but also you'll learn something, and we can interact and get some of your questions answered. And very good. All right. So let's see. Feline Fans has a question about trending of silver rounds into more and more popularity in the future. In other words, you sort of alluded to this too, that silver rounds and bars are kind of some of your bigger sellers.
Yeah, I mean, well, silver rounds are popular because they're low premium. Now, to me, silver rounds will always be popular because of that fact, as long as they remain low premium. Now, I will say that silver rounds, as opposed to, say, the opposite side of the spectrum, like the Silver Eagle, silver rounds are all about who you're going to end up selling it to. Like if you're selling it to our company, we're going to give you a really good buyback price on something like that because we have a really good market for that.
Right.
But if you're selling that to a place that doesn't have a good market for that, they're going to kill you on the buyback on
Oh yeah.
minted silver rounds, which is a big reason why I think the Silver Eagle is the #1 silver coin in the world, because no coin holds its premium up as well on the resale side as the Silver Eagle has.
Right. Cool. Speaking of Silver Eagles, here's a question from Centurion Silver. Jonathan, let's say spot went to $12 or worse an ounce.
Oh yeah, I see that one. Let's see.
Would say an American Silver Eagle remain at 229 to 269 over spots? Would premiums go up? Is there a cutoff point where you won't go lower?
Oh, if silver went to $12, Silver Eagle premiums would definitely go up. You would also see delays. Yeah, there's no way it would stay between 229 and 269. To be honest with you, silver dealers, and you mentioned this earlier, Sal, silver, there's a lot of silver dealers out there right now. There's a lot of people keeping premiums low. None of them want to keep premiums that low.
Right.
They want premiums higher, and they will go higher as soon as the market gives them any kind of, excuse to make it higher.
Right.
So, I mean, we even saw it. I want to say it was about a month ago, maybe almost 2 months ago now, where the U.S. Mint kind of fell behind in U.S. silver production, U.S. 2018 Silver Eagle production for a couple of weeks. And there was like a 1 or 2 week delay on getting brand new Silver Eagles from the U.S. Mint. And Silver Eagle premium spiked for about
Right. Yep, I remember that.
all it takes. So it doesn't take a lot. So as I mentioned earlier in the chat, not just Silver Eagles, but just anything in the silver market. If you haven't been buying silver outside of the 2012 to present day, you haven't seen the other side of this market. It can get pretty wild.
Right. Right. Stephen Heath is wishes that you could ship to the UK. He says, "Would you bend over backwards to ship to the UK? Pretty please," he says.
Yeah, as long as we can adhere to all the restrictions they have on stuff coming in there, sure.
That's right. Yep. And then Plot the Pioneer, we answered this one. He does own some precious metals. And Head Plant says, "How do you see Gresham's law playing out among silver products?"
What?
How do you see Gresham's law playing out among silver products? And that's essentially it's a monetary principle. Bad money drives out good.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
Bad money drives out good.
For example, there are two forms of a commodity, money and circulation, which are accepted by law as having similar face value. The more valuable commodity will disappear from circulation.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's always going to be a market for this. I just don't see that changing. I think there's always going to be a group of people that want a more real form of money.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. All right, let's see here. Okay. Next, Hedgehog, how do you determine the price over spot?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, the price over spot on a lot of these items isn't necessarily determined by us completely. I mean, it is partially, of course, because that's what they're selling it for. But I think when people are buying, you got to remember that we pay something over spot for this stuff too.
Right. That's right. Exactly.
Like for instance, the Aztec rounds, right? That's a great product. I love those. That stuff isn't free. I mean, it's not like we're making the difference between spot and the premium you're paying. We're making, if you're buying quantity of that, we're making, 10 cents an ounce, something
right.
Like that. Very, very low premium. So in a way, premiums aren't always determined by us. It's determined by, what mints want to charge, what kind of product it is, how hard was it to make, those kind of things. But in terms of how we decide what premium to charge, I mean, we have certain percentages that we need to make to be, a viable business, of course. But ultimately, we try and be one of the lower priced places out there. So we keep very close eye on what everyone else is charging, and if someone else decides to sell something for a little bit less than us, but it doesn't make sense for us, then maybe we won't match it on that product. But I'd say 99% of the time, we're right where we need to be.
Right. I'm scrolling up here. I missed a whole lot of questions. What happens when people type? Sometimes it scrolls down the bottom.
There's too many comments, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You want me to pick one? Can I pick one?
Yeah. Go ahead and pick one. Yeah.
Pick one. 925 says, "Do or would you sell bullion investment grade jewelry? Thanks." That is actually a very good question, and I've actually done that in the past. At a previous job that I was in, the investment grade jewelry. I mean, the problem is you still end up paying a huge premium on investment grade jewelry. Like I remember a few years ago, Dylan Gage was offering gold bangles for your wrist, and they were 1 ounce pure. The problem is they were 1 ounce pure as jewelry. There's a reason that most people don't have pure jewelry. It's because you can easily bend and mess up your jewelry because it's 24 and it's soft. And then the other thing is, I think the premium was like 30%. Now that's cheap for jewelry as a premium, but in the bullion business, I mean, that's a huge premium. So could we do it? Yeah, maybe. But to me, I mentioned earlier in the broadcast that I feel that we as a business, it's a little bit of our responsibility to, sort of funnel people towards things that we think might be good for them, not making decisions for them, but, funnel people in a direction. And that's not something that I would probably, urge people towards.
Right. Oh, cool. All right. Slacker Stacker. Yes. Monument Metals is based out of Frederick, Maryland. And Palm Wah says, "Jonathan, any plans to carry hand poured silver in the future?" Thanks for being here.
Yes, there are. It's just a matter of working some deals out with some mints. And to be honest, a lot of these mints are just slammed right now. dealing with a lot of the demand. So, a lot of getting a lot of this material out to where it needs to be and getting all the agreements in place and all that takes time. And so we'll
Cool.
see. But it is on the roadmap, if you will.
Cool. And that kind of relates to Crypto Bird Dog's question. Would you pour your own bars? In other words, have Monument Metals poured bars?
I don't know about that. There's risk involved with that. It's a lot of work, and it's almost better to have someone do it for us and pay us a small premium to have them do it than for us to do it ourselves.
Right.
That's not really our core business. But having poured stuff is great. I love sort of the nostalgia of the poured material. I always love poured bars when we get them. But I would love to sell inexpensive poured material because I know the community loves that stuff.
Right. Very good. Okay, let's see here. All right. Let's see here. Will graphene be something you sell in the future? Eternal source. They're gonna make enough of it to be sellable.
No plans. No plans.
That's carbon based. Health Babe. Recently, I noticed that a couple of major dealers worldwide seem to be able to make special arrangement with major mints to acquire all low mintage and highly desirable coins. And yeah, sometimes they work special deals out, like for instance, some of these privies from the Royal Canadian Mint can be commissioned by a dealer.
No, I am familiar with those. One of the things that I mentioned earlier in the webcast is we were talking about modern minted stuff. And I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with a lot of this modern minted stuff because the things that are being made with these sort of artificial rarities, trying to think of the best way to say this. What is that demand really going to be like in 5 years for a lot of these products? Some of them hit, some of them don't. I tend to like things from Perth Mint. I think they do a great job. Some of the other major world mints do a great job, but when it comes to a lot of the modern stuff with these sort of artificial limits to the amount, to me, that kind of gives an excuse to charge a premium that isn't justified in cases. So I don't know if this really answers the question, but I would just say, be careful with what you're buying. And just know that, if you're buying something with high premium that is limited mintage, buy it because you like it, not because you think it's going to go, through the roof. That's tough to pick.
That's right.
For anybody, including dealers like us.
Yeah. I thought Poppy Stuff had a question. I'm trying to find her question up here. Lots happening in the chat side. And again, folks, if you have a question, type 3% signs. That's the Shift 5 key, 3 times for your question, so I can see it. Eric says, what level of QC is implemented to ensure someone isn't shipped a scratched or damaged item? Good question.
As much as we can, that makes sense. We have, whenever we get something in, material is checked. Whenever something is ready to go out, it's checked again. But that doesn't mean that stuff doesn't happen every now and then. I mean, it's funny. You can get a coin with milk spots on it where if you look at it at one angle, it looks fine. And then you tilt it a little bit and then there are all the milk spots. It's tough. We do our absolute best, as does hopefully every dealer in the business.
Right.
All of our people are trained that when they pick out material, they look at every individual coin. It takes forever, but it's something that we do because we know that feeling when you guys get that stuff in the mail.
Yeah,
You ordered it. You spent your hard-earned money on it, and you've been waiting for maybe a week, and whatever it is while your payment cleared, and you see you're at work, you see the notification in your email that your package arrived, and you're like, all right, let's do this. And then you get home, and then there's a milk spot on your coin. It's just like the biggest letdown. And so we try and avoid that. Doesn't mean that it doesn't happen, but this brings up a point of something that I think I probably should have mentioned earlier about what sets us apart. Look, when you're shipping the amount of material that our company ships out, things happen. You might get a coin with a milk spot, or you might get a coin with an issue. Just know that it's not personal. It happens to all the companies. And the important part to me, whenever there's an issue with what you're doing as a business, is that you acknowledge the issue, you hear the person out, you try and understand what they're feeling, and then you do everything you possibly can to help them right away. So it's all about the way that you respond to the community, and we bend over backwards. Anyone that's been on Reddit knows we bend over backwards for the community to make anything right, and your satisfaction is our number one goal. I know you hear that on commercials all the time, but we would not exist as a business without you guys, and we're looking for repeat business. You can't get that if you don't take care of people. So whenever there is an issue, it's always something you got to take care of right away. And I think that's something that if you do ever unfortunately have an issue with us, which almost never happens, but if it does, just know that you're in good hands. And I've seen a couple of times where we've had a client with an issue. They're very defensive right away.
Right.
Very defensive because I think in their just sort of overall life that they're used to companies not caring about them at all. And so once I inform them that no, that's not the case here, this is totally different, then people get really relaxed and they're like, oh, thank you so much. Some of the best clients and best relationships I've had have actually evolved around something where there was an issue that needed to be resolved, because it builds that trust, it builds that character, all that kind of thing, that relationship with the client. So I'll get off my soapbox now, but no,
that's great. That's good. I think it is important customer service for sure, definitely. Very good. One CJS for you sort of touches on something you talked about earlier, but why are products from the Bank of Mexico usually more expensive than other mints?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
One CJS for you, the YouTuber asked, why are products from the Bank of Mexico usually more expensive than other mints?
Because they charge us more.
They charge you more. That's right, from the get-go. That's
yeah.
right.
The real question to ask the Banco de Mexico, is why are they the only mint that ships tubes of their 1 ounce silver coin in bags instead of boxes?
Right. Wow.
That's the question.
That is interesting. Wow.
I've never understood that one.
Yeah.
That's a new one. And the hardest to open box of all of them is the Silver Panda. That thing is like Fort Knox.
Wow. Wow. That's an interesting tidbit.
Go YouTube a video of trying to open a Silver Panda box. I think it's impossible to open.
Wow. Crazy. Yeah. Poppy Stuff. I found Poppy Stuff's question.
Okay.
And, what are your gold favorites? You kind of touched on that. And they like the Indian.
Yeah. You mean my personal favorites, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what she's asking.
I'll do this in another way, though. When it comes to fractional gold, or smaller than 1 ounce, I think the most overlooked part of the market is European gold or Mexican gold. So we're talking sovereigns, we're talking 20 francs,
right?
We're talking 10 pesos, 5 pesos, those kind of things. Because if you're buying 10th ounce gold maples or 10th ounce gold eagles, you're paying in a lot of cases 13, 14% over gold. Whereas you can pay a relatively minuscule premium and get something a lot more interesting and older and more, fascinating stuff. So I think that's something that I think a lot of people are kind of overlook in fractional gold. And then I think if you're going to go over 1 ounce, I'm going to stay in the same kind of vein. 50 peso is just so cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
1.2057 pure ounces of gold. Yes, I memorized that. But those coins are so cool. I mean, it's just such an interesting piece. It's got so much more weight in your hand. I love those. And again, the premium's pretty low on those. So to me, I love those.
Right. Right. Cool. All right. Let's see here. Let's see here. Looking it through, went back and caught some of the ones that I missed earlier. Let's see. What's your favorite pizza? Says Silver Bean Counter. Pizza.
Let's go with pepperoni pizza.
Pepperoni. How about your favorite company? That like, do you like C-Rose? Do you like Domino's?
You guys have Lido's?
Lido's?
Lido's on the East Coast. Do you guys know Lido's Pizza?
Huh? No, never heard.
Maryland thing. I don't know. They're a local group. And anyone in the chat from the Maryland, DC area might know Lido's. It's quality stuff.
Cool. All right. Very good. Where's Alan Gold? Oh, that wasn't it. We have that's our resident troll here, Alan Gold. He's not here. But Sabina is here. Sabina is our resident bouncer's wife who is due for our little baby coming in December. Congratulations to her.
Wow, that's exciting.
And let's see here. What else? King Gold. Do you prefer constitutional silver or solid silver rounds?
I like constitutional. I like the 90%. That's one of my favorite products.
Cool. Domo says, have overall sales gone up from last year or down? What was your best sales year thus far? You sort of touched
this year was our best sales year. We're doing about 4 to 5 times more business than we did last year.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. Slacker Stacker says, you said you were open to calls. What was the most ridiculous complaint claim you've ever heard? Good question, Slacker Stacker.
I don't know. That's honestly, I don't remember, but I do. One of my favorite things are dealing with fraudulent calls. I love those. Those are
wow.
So
I get those all the time.
So we have a very very significant fraud detection system on the site. And I love it when we get something in, because you know that these fraudsters are going to try and call you and say, "Hey, where's my order?"
Right.
I always enjoy those. Those are always
yeah.
Those are some of my favorites. And yeah, I've had some pretty creative guys, but we get them all the time.
Nice, cool. All right, let's see here. Colonic Stacker is the company named after the Washington Monument. You sort of alluded that earlier.
Yeah, I mean, not specifically the Washington Monument, but I've lived in the Washington D.C. area my whole life, and so the whole idea of monuments, Washington D.C. monument medals, I thought had a good ring to it, so I went with that.
Very cool. All right, Mac. When the government stopped minting silver coins, do you know of anyone making bank runs and coin roll hunting, or did you not think about it when it happened? I'm only 25, so I wasn't around here for that.
Oh man,
you may not have been around for that either, Jonathan.
Sorry to say, but I have run into a bunch of clients that ended up selling later that were all over this early. People that were going to the bank, pulling out rolls all the time, and I had one client at a previous job that bought a farm based on the 90% silver that he saved.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
Silver Mac says, how about working out deals with YouTube silver pourers? Thoughts on that? In other words, there's a whole community of folks here on YouTube who pour great stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we're open to anything that helps the community, does well for us, and does well for whoever the YouTuber would be. We're open.
Here's a piece of poured community pour. This is a piece of crap. Literally, this is a poured poopy. See it? Here, let me show you. I'll show you on the big screen here. I just posted a video about this from Slacker Stacker. This is a piece of poured poop.
Oh man.
Yeah, crazy, isn't it?
It's so real.
That's 925 silver right there, actually.
Sterling. Okay.
Yeah. Here's a certificate of authenticity.
Oh, yeah, you got to have that.
They get pretty creative. With their stuff for sure.
I like how they just circled 925.
Yeah.
That's all I needed to see.
Yeah. And it's poop. Yeah. Anyway, crazy stuff. Some pretty unique stuff. My moderator here, he has a blue wrench. His name is Eric. You see him on the side here.
Okay.
And he had a silver wrench poured for him by a member of the community too.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
Speaking of Eric, his question is Jonathan a Pro 2A guy?
What?
And now 2A, for those of you who are drummers, Pro Mark makes a 2A drumstick. So other than that, I don't know what that means, but
yeah, me neither. I can play drums though, a little bit.
Cool, nice.
So it's been a few years though. I've been a little more focused on business and family stuff, but yeah, no, I can play drums. I can play air drums in my car with the best of them.
Nice. Okay, let's see. I know I'm missing a couple of other questions. Okay, here we go. Are ASC more subject to confiscation than generic rounds? Ask Will Edwards.
I get the confiscation question all the time. I honestly feel that confiscation in today's world is virtually impossible.
Right.
Um, Now, anything can happen.
Yeah.
I think it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, like what? So let's say the government wanted to confiscate all the silver, privately owned silver and gold in the country, right? So, okay, so they enact some kind of rule through Congress. You've got to turn it in or else. First of all, how do they even know you have it?
Right.
Second, what are they solving by doing that? A lot of clients when they call and ask this question will say, well, they need to pay the debt with something, or they need to solidify the value of the dollar with the gold standard. There is so much money out there that you could not possibly go to the gold and silver standard with the amount of gold and silver in the world. I mean, you just can't. There's just
Right.
not enough. There's not enough out there, and especially privately owned in the United States, there's a lot. But at the same time, you can't pay off the national debt with that. I mean, we got way too much national debt for that to even really make a dent in the interest.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
what would that really be solving? All you'd be doing is making the public mad, which they can do that, but it doesn't really solve any problem. To me, if I were the government and I needed to raise money, I would just sanction money from everyone's 401k because I have direct access to that. I know everyone's social security number. I could do that. I mean, that's the low hanging fruit.
Right. Right. Cool. All right. Let's see. Clever coin that's going to open ended press. And why do you stack PMs? I think that's, I don't know. Do you want to answer that really quickly? It's mostly what we've kind of talked about, but
Yeah, why do I stack PMs, precious metals? I stack as a hedge against my more major investments.
yep.
If I buy gold and silver, I'm not expecting it to make gains like my Netflix stock is going to.
Right.
It's a totally different thing. So, for those of you who were stacking back in 2009, 2010, 2011, when your stocks were crashing and you had lost all that value, but if you had precious metals, it sort of came up and boosted you back to where you need to be. I worked with a guy for years that was really close to retiring. And then 2008 hit, he lost a little over a third of what he had, and he had to end up working 5 or 6 more years than he had initially planned to, because he didn't have any precious metals. Had he had precious metals, he could have sold that when it hit some of those higher numbers and maintained where he was and been on a beach somewhere instead of working with me.
Right. Right. Exactly. All right. Very good. And Poppy stuff regarding you're talking about the fraudulent orders placed earlier. Do you work with the police regarding fraud? In other words, can you detect what's going on there and able to help stop it?
We work with law enforcement if they listen.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, there's not a whole lot of concern about fraudulent orders. I will say this. I am very sensitive to fraudulent orders and protecting people's information. If you've bought from us, you'll notice that we don't save any form of payment information whatsoever on our website. So if you come and you buy with a credit card, we don't store that info. If you
Right.
buy with an e-check, we don't store that info. And some people will call or email us and say, why don't you save this? The thing is, like, look, if Facebook and Google can get hacked, like, we have very good security. We spend a ton of money and time and all that on our security. But if some of the best companies in the world can be hacked and have your information taken, I do not want to be responsible for anyone's payment information. It's just not
Right.
something in today's world that makes any sense.
Yep. I understand. I understand. Now, CCT wants to know if you've ever seen a fake coin fired from a cannon.
No, but please upload a video of it. I'd love to see.
I think he has his channel. The CCT is probably the premier channel to go to for the ultimate destruction of fake coins to get them out of the marketplace.
I love it. I think it is important for dealers to keep at least one fake coin so that they can test it next to a real one and show somebody.
Yes, exactly. By the way, we have the honor of the President of the United States joining us.
Oh, wow.
President Trump is here, and he wants to know what your thoughts are on the Texas Gold Depository.
I think not a lot of people are going to use it.
Right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's especially the online community is a lot of the online community and people we deal with on a day-to-day basis is in the camp of, if you don't hold it, you don't own it.
Right.
Now, I do believe that there are many good storage facilities out there. I've worked with many over the years. Perth Mint does a lot of that. Dual Engage does a lot of that. SWP Cayman does a lot of that. I worked with all those companies. They're good people. But if you're going to have your material held by someone, I think most people prefer a privately held business that's properly insured.
Okay, yeah. Republic of Chad, Texas asks if there's an app in your future, like Jam and AppMex have apps. Do you think you guys will ever develop an app?
I haven't thought about it, to be honest. I think what we would do before we made an app is make our mobile site better.
Right.
It reaches the same people
Yep.
on mobile. I'm not really sure what value the app would have outside of just selling more stuff. I would say that what do you call? I would say that one of the businesses that has had a lot of success with their app is Kitco, because that's sort of the destination to look at what spot price is.
Right.
Spot price is higher than what it should be, but
Right.
yeah, I mean, there's some value in that, but that's not really our core business. Our core business is to serve the community, and maybe that's something that we'll do down the line, but no immediate plans for that right now.
Right. Bullionaire asked, do you think the new online sales tax laws will have a negative impact on sales?
I think it'll have a little bit of a negative impact on sales, but as I mentioned earlier on, I think people will just change their habits.
Right. Yeah.
People will maybe buy less frequently, but buy in larger amounts when they buy to potentially avoid sales tax. I also think people will figure out workarounds around the sales tax, like delivering to states that don't
Right.
tax. I also think I don't have a crystal ball, but I believe that a lot of these exemptions will get done in a lot of these states. I think it'll take time, but I know a lot of the higher ups at ICTA, and I should type that in chat. Let me find their website real quick. You guys should support these people if you don't want the sales tax.
The Institute, something for tangible assets, but I forget what the CT.
Industry Council for Tangible Assets.
Okay.
I'll put this in chat real quick. Hang on. Support these guys. These guys are going hard to try and deal with this. And I'm telling you, they are the best people. I've talked to all of them, nicest, most wonderful people, and honestly have the best interest of the business as a whole and of you, the community at large. They're just wonderful. And I didn't research how people can support them before I got on here, because I really wasn't expecting to talk about that. But it is something that I think is really important moving forward. Because I mean, if you go to, I don't remember all the specific laws in each state, but if you want to spend $100,000 in gold, why should you pay 6% sales tax?
Right. Right.
Pay $106,000 for that. You wouldn't pay $6,000 in sales tax buying stocks.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. But the ruling has been made. Obviously, something needs to be done, and hopefully, things get done.
Right. Cool. Okay. Let's see. You're looking at other stuff here. Silver Wolverine. What is your opinion on buying silver to trade for gold when the ratio gap gets closer, say 65-1?
I'm never a huge fan of buying to swap. And
Right.
the reason why is you're going to get killed in the middle with the premiums.
Yeah.
So unless you can avoid it, I guess my general I wouldn't say advice, but suggestion would be, if you're willing to spend enough money to buy an ounce of gold, buy gold if you want gold. If you don't want to spend that much money to buy an ounce of gold, then buy silver instead.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Very good. Let's see here.
Oh, someone said hi from Canada. Hi from Canada.
Oh, hello. All right. Very good. I'm just trying to catch up on some of these questions here. I know I probably missed some. A lot
You
going
guys
on.
keep the questions coming. I love answering this stuff. Let's keep it going. Ask me questions specifically about Monument. Ask me about my background. Ask me about, I don't know, anything. Ask me why the Redskins should have re-signed Kirk Cousins. Hey.
Right. Let's see here.
We should do a segment on that, Sal.
Yeah, where do you get the stuff you sell? Silver hair stacker.
Excellent question. So a lot of it, let me expand on this a little bit, maybe more than he was expecting. So the way that the precious metals business is structured, there are world mints and private mints that produce a lot of the things that you're buying. Then there's a level that I would call the AP or wholesalers. And those are companies that only do business with other bullion businesses. They don't sell privately to individuals.
Okay.
And you probably know some of those names. You've probably heard of Amark. You've probably heard of Dill Engage. You definitely know who AppMex is.
Right.
You've probably heard of MTB, Manfred Tordell and Brooks in New York. You've probably heard of some of these other companies that are APs. And these mints are very specific about who they will do business with. And so, for instance, I think there's only 5 or 6 companies in the US that can actually buy Silver Eagles direct from the US Mint. And it's those companies. And then companies like mine have to buy it from them.
Right.
So when mint cost on a Silver Eagle is $2 an ounce over spot, when I buy them, it's costing me $2.15 over spot. And then, going from there. That's how the business is structured. So we buy from direct mint distributors or directly from the mints in situations where we can. Some of the mints have higher or lower, requirements when you buy. But we try and buy as high up the food chain as we can. And working with those businesses like Dill Engage and Amark is great. I mean, they do what they do really well. And they're much more able to handle the kind of bullion business that dealers like me and others need. You can't call the U.S. Mint and say, "Hey, I need 10,000 Silver Eagles." They'll say, "Well, I don't want to talk to you for that amount." That's they're not equipped to do that kind of business. So it's funneled through that sort of system.
Right. Cool. All right.
Did that answer the question? I kind of just started talking.
Yeah, I think so. Alpha Boss wants to know what drives premium more, price or demand?
Demand, I'd say more.
I would say too. And that leads me to this question. Actually, this is
But price has a direct impact on demand, though. So I mean, it's really both.
Yeah.
Demand mostly, I would say.
Right. And here's a question no one's asking. I'm surprised. And I thought, and I meant to ask Jake from Provident this too, but some dealers will, if there's a real hot coin that's out there, that's a very limited mintage, they will throttle it. In other words, they'll list it for a time at a certain price, and then they will wait, and then they'll pump up the price. You know what I mean?
I'm familiar with that. Yeah.
Is that something you could ever see yourself doing if you got a real hot coin?
No, I mean, look, as I mentioned earlier, I feel like we as dealers have responsibilities. I don't feel like every dealer feels that way, but I feel that way. Look, if it cost me $20 to have a coin minted, and I'm selling it for 25, which, by the way, we don't make that kind of premium on anything, but selling it for 25, and then a lot of people decided that it was really exciting, and moving it to $30, $40 a piece. I mean, what are you really accomplishing as a dealer? Right. What did you do? Like, yeah, you made more money, but in 2 years, when that guy comes back to you and says, "Look, I want to sell these. What do you pay for it?" "Oh, $20, but you paid 60.
Right. Yeah. It's a short-term gain.
Short-term gain. I mean, look, I've been doing this a long time. I think the people that do that don't last in this business. They just don't.
ZXC says, do you have a physical store? We talked about that earlier.
We do not have a walk-in location. So we're actually in the process of moving into new offices in Urbana, which is just south on 270 of Frederick. So anyone in the area would kind of know what that means. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to have a little more walk-in business. Sal, I talked to you before we got on here. I've done different parts of this business. And doing the full-on walk-in, I don't know if we're going to do that. I don't know
Right.
if that's for us, but in terms of someone coming down to pick something up, or any of those kind of things, that's something that we can do. And if you want to meet, there was a client a couple months ago that was really nice and came down to buy something, and we went and got dinner.
Right. Cool. That's cool. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Chris Gardner has a good question. Do you have any other hobbies besides precious metals?
Watching the Redskins lose.
Oh yeah.
I do enjoy music and playing drums. I have a family with 3 little kids, so they are definitely a hobby that I
Nice.
enjoy. Uh, I have a very good close group of friends that I've had ever since elementary school, and we all stay in touch and hang out and stuff. So those are big interests. I'm a big sports guy, so football, basketball, all those kind of things are always entertaining to me. So.
Awesome. Very good. Demo, the link is up above there. Scroll up, you'll see it. It's for the ICTA or whatever, tangible assets.
I can do it again. Yeah.
Okay, you want to post that again? And I think Part-Time Preppers has a good question here. Speaking of football,
Okay.
do you think Colt McCoy should start next game?
Next game, no, no, no. Colt is wonderful in his role as the backup.
All right, very good. All right, and then now this is my question: what kind of drum set do you have? And do you have a double bass? Do you have two? You have,
So I don't have okay. So you just heard me mention the 3 kids. So you can't go all out with the drum set in the house. So I have one of the the Roland TD 20 ones. Do you know what I'm talking about?
okay, yeah, yeah.
But it feels pretty close. So I have one of those, and I have an amp, and I have headphones that I can play on, and that's what I use. But I do not have the 2 basses. I just have the double pedal with the one.
Oh yeah, there you go. The double bass pedal. Yeah, cool.
My left foot, I have pretty good independence on my left hand, my right hand, and my right foot. But my left foot is the letdown in the double bass game.
Yeah, but do you like metal?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little out of the scene at the moment.
What
But
were some of your bands that you listen to?
okay, so what is today? So 2 weeks ago, yesterday, I went up to Philly with a friend and saw Metallica live. So
Nice.
that was pretty cool. And I met Lars.
You met Lars. Sweet.
Lars. Dude,
Wow.
what a chill dude. You gotta love Lars, man.
Oh yeah, he's an art collector
He
too.
took way too much heat for that.
Yeah,
He's a good dude. No, love Metallica.
cool.
Ride around in the car with For Whom the Bell Tolls going for sure.
Heck yeah. Oh yeah, very cool. Nice. All right, it's very good. All right, let's see what else we got here. .com wants me to call you daddy. Silver bean counter is free shipping, not offered by all because average orders are small. What's the average order size?
So the average order size is kind of small. I mean, it's kind of skewed by some of the really large ones. So I'd say the average order size is probably somewhere around $400 to $500, somewhere in there. But what that really looks like is 100, 100, 200, 100, 100, 100,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'll get some in between. But my
Yeah.
point is that you've got kind of a few different groups of people. You've got the stackers that try and get to free shipping and keep going. And to me, those are your best customers. Those are the people you want to take care of.
Yeah.
Those are the people that really build the reputation of your business.
Right.
And that's the kind of guy or the kind of customer where they say, well, you sent me some flips and one of them was cracked. Can I have one? And you send them 5. You got to take care of these people, and you just have to. I mean, and a review from that person, a nice message on a message board, a message on Reddit, attending this chat. That person, the value is, of course, in the business that they're doing with you, but it's also the reputation that you're building through that person online and throughout their life, people they're referring, and all that kind of stuff, and it just spreads. And that's a really important part of the client base. I mean, there's always going to be heavy hitters that want to spend $100,000, $1 million. Those people are out there,
Right.
but those people are usually one and done. kind of
Right. Right. Yeah.
buy once and then, hey, I'll call you next year, that kind
Right.
of thing. But obviously you want to take care of those people. But the community are the people that buy from you regularly. The community are the people that email you and say, hey, John, I saw that, this such and such company came out with this coin. Are you going to carry it? I'd much rather buy it from you.
Right.
That's what that brings. And you
Yeah.
got to take care of all those people.
Exactly. Part-time preppers. I think he was a jab at me. Could be worse. Could be a Browns fan. That's me. I'm a Browns fan, which I think we won 2 games.
At least they have Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. All right. CCT saying good night. Very cool. Appreciate it. And by the way, guys,
here we go. I want to do one. Wait.
Okay.
All is one now. Will your promo code be better than Provident? And did you watch the Provident interview?
Oh.
Yes, I watched the Provident interview, and yes, my promo code will be better.
All right. Okay. Yeah. You guys stick around. That's coming up here pretty soon. Let's see here. Friendly competition. It's all fun. And I apologize. We're probably going to end this here pretty soon, but we're going to take a couple more questions. It's been a lively chat for sure, and certainly appreciate. But if I have missed your question earlier, I apologize. I'm trying to get to as many as I can. It's not for not trying. Let's see here. Okay. Oh, Silverback Stacker says, you guys sent me a cracked kilo bar. Can you send me 5? That was based off your cracked flip question. That was funny.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. Chris Garner says, would you consider to have a point system where you get a discount or a fee or a free silver round close to spot price? Sometimes people can build up points.
Yeah, I mean, I know some companies do that sort of like build the bucks kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'd rather just offer lower prices than them all the time.
Right. Okay, cool. All right. Silver Mac, have you seen, whoops, I just missed it here. It's scrolling up. Have you ever bought from another dealer other than your own?
Of course. Got to know what the competition's doing.
All right. Very good. Has a shortest straw ever been pulled for you? No, that's a question.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. All right. Will the coupon code you give hurt you are these prices? Let's see. Will the coupon code you give hurt you are these prices? I'm not sure what that
because
means.
I made it up and I decided to do it. So we're excited about it.
Very cool. All right. Mike.
That reminds me.
Yes.
One of the things that sets us apart, I forgot to mention this earlier too. A lot of our promotions, it's easy to just make a cheap price on a 10-ounce bar, but we try and do promotions that are interesting and educate people about them.
Cool.
And some of the material that's part of the promo tonight that we'll eventually get to is something that's kind of like that. So
awesome. Nice. All right. Very good. Let's see here. What else? Let's see. We're going to take a thought on platinum and why no one talks about it.
Because every time we promote it or any other company promotes it, nobody buys it.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, at the obviously in this business too, but at the business I worked for before this, when I was working more on the wholesale side, we would promote platinum, and our bosses would just scream at us like, why did you waste a valuable email on platinum? Right.
Wow. Yeah, man, crazy. Part-time preppers. What non-US silver coinage have you sold the most of in the past year? Kooks, Lunars, Pandas, Libertads, I mean.
We sold a lot of Libertads. That's a really popular design.
Yeah.
We also sold a ton of the gold Libertads. Those are a lot more limited. We sold a lot of those. Those are really popular.
Yeah. Slacker Stacker didn't put percentages in front of his statement here because it wasn't a question, but it made me think of a question from Slacker Stacker. He says he thinks that working with community pourers would be good. We use a lot of silver. Have you thought about, do you sell silver shot or just silver for pouring silver?
Yeah, we'll probably do more of the shot. Yeah.
Nice. Stacking Nerd is listening while doing her nails. Sweet.
Hey, got to listen sometime.
That's right, exactly. And let's see. All right, let's take 2 more questions, and let's take 2 more questions from somebody who has not asked a question yet. And then when we do so, after these 2 questions, we're going to talk about the promo codes. All right. Has Milk Steel? I don't think he's asked a question. Do you think the stock market will correct soon?
It depends what you mean by soon, but Yes, it's got to. I mean, we're in the longest bull run in the history of the stock market. It doesn't continue. All markets are cyclical. It's going to correct. The question is, how big will the correction be, and when will it be? And that's anybody's guess.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Anyone telling you they know, don't listen to them.
Right. Cool. All right. Marcelo Vega, what is the greatest risks to stacking?
Greatest risk to stacking. Counterfeits?
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Counterfeits? Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the counterfeit problem isn't a huge problem for us as a business because we buy from well-sourced places and we test literally everything.
Right.
So
Right.
that doesn't become a problem for us. But in today's world where people are buying from more and more places, it just kills you when you buy something that's not real. I mean,
Right.
it takes your entire interest in the stacking community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. I hear you. Exactly right. Well, very good. Oh, and by the way, Mr. Vegeta did ask earlier. I forgot. I missed that. If
Oh
you
yeah.
wanted him to do if you wanted him to do a Black Friday video for your special or on a showcase, or I think that probably goes without saying. You probably would want him to do it.
Yes.
Yes, there you go. So, Mr. V, there's your answer. All right.
Mr. Vegeta and I have talked a few times. He's a good
Cool.
guy. You guys should check out his channel.
Yeah, he's got a great channel. We love Mr. Vegeta here. He's awesome. Very good. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, well, all right, here's one more. Schizo Silver, gonna send any swagger for customers. We'll do
So yeah, I'd love to send some swag. We actually really wanted to go real hard on the swag. We wanted to do like swag packs with like
yeah,
really cool gear and all this kind of stuff, but we couldn't get an honest, realistic quote for any of that. I mean,
right.
the amount of stuff you guys would have to buy to justify was just insane. So, but I tell you what, we had some of the coolest swag I've ever seen. We had socks you would die for, man.
Oh, nice.
Coolest socks I've ever seen. But
Nice.
we got to figure out a way to make it work. But some smaller swag, we'll work it in for sure.
That'd be cool. I'd like to see a Monument Metals do not eat pack. And then there's little do not eat things and it says Monument Metals on it. That would be so cool. I think that would go like wildfire. No, I'm teasing.
That put us number one, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm just teasing. Have a little fun here. All right, guys. Well, we had a good time here. Thank you all, everybody that came by today. So appreciate every single one of you. I think we got most of the questions, but if I did miss it, is because the chat scrolled past and I couldn't see it. And I did. Will says I didn't do the hard questions. I got the hard questions. We took some hard questions in there.
Wait. Give me a hard question.
Will Edwards says won't do hard questions. We've done the hard questions.
Hard question. Someone type one in chat. I'll do it.
And Will Edwards says we won't do the hard questions. Give us a hard question. No fear here. Real quick, and that'll be the last one. One hard question, and then we'll do the deals, the codes.
By the way, while we're waiting for that, I want to offer to the channel, you, Sal, and everybody listening, I would love to come on and do any kind of regular segment that is, ask a dealer anything kind of thing. Anything you guys want to ask. It doesn't have to be in this dealer, series that you're doing. It can be separate, but I'd love to offer that. And I also want to offer to anyone, here outside of the offer we're about to give, if you guys have any questions about the business or any questions you want answered, call my business and ask for John.
Cool. All right.
I can't answer every one, but I'll probably do a lot of them.
But you have to ask for John without an H, because if you ask for John with an H, you're not going to get through. I'm telling you.
I'm the only John there, so you'll get me.
Okay, here is Will Edwards' tough question. Are ASEs, American Silver Eagles, more subject to confiscation than generic rounds? He already answered that, Will. Where he was sleeping during that question. So there you go. So his criticism of you not.
I saw a good one. What was this one? Are silver? No, not that one. Sorry. Why do two companies have lowest premiums usually? I don't think that's true.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they decided to make less money.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, we keep this pretty open, folks. So Will wasted his tough question by repeating another question that John already answered. He was asleep at the wheel, so that was his fault. Anyways, all right. So thank you guys. No more questions. We're gonna start do the promo codes. And before I show this, would you go ahead and explain, Jonathan, what the promo codes are and what they're for? I'm gonna pull up this screenshot.
I better go get it. Hang on.
Okay.
All right, that was not. I thought you were doing it. I got it. I'll get it. All right, hang on. Almost there. Okay, guys. So one of the codes, almost there. So, okay. So, okay. First code. So I'll just read this to you guys. So at the end of the webcast, we're gonna give out 2 different codes. These codes are good through Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. Eastern. So come Monday morning, these codes are not going to work for you. So please get it in before that. So the first code is SALSOV. That's SALSOV. And it's good for 1 Queen Victoria Young Head style British gold sovereign, random date at spot price.
Do you guys see that on the screen? I've got the window active, so I can't see if it's there. But do you see
that circle there is where you enter the discount code there. But that product, that's a specific version, harder to find version of the British gold sovereign, a little bit earlier variety, which typically carries a much higher premium. But we have a small group of those it's a little bit more interesting. We're offering those at spot price if you enter the code SALSOV, SALSOV.
SALSOV the terrible. That's what Terry says.
And then there is another code. Now, we don't have a visual for this, but the second code is SALMERC, SALMERC. It's good for up to 2 $5 face value tubes of mercury dimes at spot price. So you can find that item on our site and put in that code and get up to 10 face value, 2 tubes of 5 face value each of mercury dimes at spot price. Also good through Sunday night. Couple of things you guys should know about the codes, though. You can use these codes even if you've bought other things from spot from us previously, so that doesn't disqualify you. You can use both codes. You're not restricted to one, but you can only use each code 1 time. Both codes have a limit of 1 per household. So don't try and use your office and then send one to your house. We'll fix that and we'll avoid it. So don't do it. Codes I already mentioned are good through Sunday night at 11:59. Now, this is important. If you want to use both codes, our shopping cart system only allows 1 code to be used per checkout. So if you want to buy the gold and you want to buy the mercs, you can do 1 shopping cart with the gold at spot, and then do another order with the mercs at spot, because you can only use 1 code per cart. But we hope you guys enjoy that kind of offer. Try and have something a little more interesting than just something generic.
And you can see there on the screenshot, hopefully it's still visible, where you enter the discount code. Again, it's SALSOV for the Queen Victoria British Gold Sovereign, which I wish I could take advantage of. That would be the one I'd go for. Or the SALMERC, which is another great deal too, for sure.
Oh, and I saw someone with a good question in chat. Yes, these codes are active now, so you can go do it now.
Very good. Awesome. Well, that's great. That's wonderful. Thank you, Jonathan. I think the viewers will, those are some good deals. And so yes, indeed. Very, very good. Well, good. We had a long discussion here tonight. And Jonathan, thank you for being so open to answering these questions. It was a wonderful interview. And thank you again for offering to come back. And we definitely may do that. We may, I think maybe the other series might be Ask a Dealer, and we, like you said, we'll have you, and I think Jake's offered that as well. But yes, definitely, we appreciate the insight and knowledge from the dealer end, for sure. And again, thank you for your willingness to answer these questions from the community, and thanks for helping us to learn a bit more about Monument Metals and about what you do.
I'm glad I could help. Really enjoyed this and looking forward to doing something like that again. Thank
Very
you
good.
all, and enjoy the codes. I hope you guys like those offers.
Yes, thank you again for those offers. And again, especially want to thank you guys, the viewers, for taking the time out of your Friday night to come and watch this live stream here, this interview with Jonathan Swires from Monument Metals. And I would like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for watching. And also to remind you a very important thing, the most important thing of the evening, and that is to keep your feet on the stars and keep reaching for the coffee grounds. See you guys later.